Zack Snyder would continue the Justice League DCEU if Netflix owns the rights, which currently they don't. So once again, here we are at Cosmic Book News, and this is in response to a interview that Snyder gave where he says, yeah, he would continue. And it's not that shocking because there was all this stuff about he's moved on, and that was a bit deceptive somewhat. It's just a matter of acknowledging the realities of it all. He said very recently, he had his SnyderCon, where he said, yeah, I would continue it if I had the chance. But that, if is the operative word and all of that. So, but it seems like if, again, this were the circumstances required for it, would be that it would have to be outsourced to Netflix at this point. So anyway, here we go. We get into the quote from this interview that he gave overseas, I believe, promoting Rebel Moon, and was asked about it. And so he just flat out responds saying, if Netflix had owned the rights. Now, it says had owned. That's interesting, too. But nevertheless, he says, had owned the rights to the DC characters in my extended universe. Of course, absolutely. Snyder answered cultural OCO, I guess. I'm not sure. Sorry if I got it wrong. Yeah, no question. Yeah, he would do it. Of course, it's unfinished business. He did a lot of work on it and would like to see it fulfilled and all that. The other thing earlier, he said that the only thing that would bring him back is to do an adaptation, of The Dark Knight Returns, which is something he's always wanted to do. He talked about that in the aftermath of The Watchmen. That was the other comic book film project that he would have loved to have done. Ended up sprinkling that through Batman versus Superman, which he probably just should have done a full adaptation of Dark Knight Returns instead of Batman versus Superman, and set up the DCEU on that, But anyway, so had they owned, and that's one of the things that's running against this, is the clock is ticking and time is running out on getting the performers back. I mean, in what version would this be if he's able to get to it like 5 years from now? An animated version? Yeah, I guess. But that's not what people want. They want it found. So the deal to restore that cast was to get the ball running last year and start, immediately. Obviously, there was no creative decision. It was the money, and they didn't have the money to pay Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck and that sort of thing. And they didn't, and they needed to get newer, younger, and cheaper performers. Because all the descriptions of the direction they're going, you could have had Henry Cavill involved in that. Maybe it's for the best. It may not be very good, but who knows? And in certain aspects of what was established as far as Zack Snyder goes, still could have used some of that and crafted a narrative there. But they didn't, and I think because it's too expensive and all of that. So what is the likelihood of this? And McCloy talks about that. Yeah, the Snyder Cut fans have been hoping that Netflix could buy the rights to the DC characters. As is far-fetched, but it is known that Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav has been licensing out DC content so that, and says, hey, you could just relegate the Snyderverse to an Elseworlds film, which they're going to do, put that label on Joker and the Batman and stuff like that. And so, but this is a bit more undertaking than a single film or even a trilogy. This would be a whole other shared universe endeavor. And to compete with one they're trying to develop now. I suppose one summer it's Gunverse, the next summer it's Snyderverse. But even that, I'm like, I don't know. But they need the money, so they're licensing off everything. The DCEU films are on Netflix and even Tubi, that sort of thing. So then Hollywood Reporter questioned Netflix's head of film, Scott Stuber, and asking him about all that, and says, "That's always tricky because you don't own it," Stuber replied, who added there was a possibility that Snyder's DC movies could end up on the platform. Well, there again, I don't know at the time that they were talking to him, but now Snyder's DC films are on the platform. Now, the Snyder's Justice League cut is not there, but I'm thinking it's going to be there eventually. And that speaks to probably still doing good numbers for Max, so they'll hold on to it for a little longer. But unfortunately, the Joss Whedon version is on there. Yeah. And I don't know, and probably the extended cut of Batman vs. Superman is probably not on Netflix either. It's probably all the theatrical cuts of those films. But nevertheless, technically speaking, his films are on there, at least two of them. And then the others, Suicide Squad and, the Justice League one. And I guess they put Birds of Prey on there. Ooh. I don't know about Aquaman yet, but probably going to hold on that for a little while until the second one's had its run, and then those will end up there too. Anyway, obviously we would like to license it at some point, Stuber said about the DCEU. So that's got to be more direct towards licensing it. Now you pay a license to have films on the platform, so I still think this could be that they're interested in having DCEU movies on Netflix, which they have now. We'd love to have it on so that fans can experience more Zack. So, Zack was like the center of the DCEU universe, and other films were supposed to be a part of it. So, like Suicide Squad is heavily dependent on Batman v Superman, but it's not a Zack Snyder film. Wonder Woman is more adjacent to Zack Snyder than not in that aspect. But could this be him referring that, we would like to have those sequels if they could be shot? So he says, the more Zack we have, the better we are. So he's promoting Zack Snyder, and in the midst of this Rebel Moon stuff they want to promote and all that. But just on the surface of it, they're very happy with Zack Snyder at Netflix, and they're promoting him and all that sort of stuff. I gotta say, I think Army of the Dead, which is the first film he did for them, is terrible. I think it's the worst film that Zack Snyder's done. He's done great films. Most of his films I like. It looks cool. Rebel Moon looks cool, and that's the thing about Zack Snyder. His films always look gorgeous. They look really cool. He has great eye for visuals and presentation like that. And he instantly understands the technology of today and how to he can make the green screen worlds look real, whereas others, they look flat and terrible. But he's good at that, and he's got an excellent team on action scenes and fight choreography. It's just second to none. It looks really good, so he's very good at that. But Army of the Dead was terrible. Which is odd, because my favorite film that he did was Dawn of the Dead, and that is excellent. Probably one of the best zombie movies ever. And I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but I think there was a lot of excitement for Snyder fans and whatnot, because this was the first film he had done since, after all the Justice League mess happened. And then he comes back with that. And I was like, well, but, hopefully Rebel Moon is much better than that. And, so it probably did good numbers for them, but I don't know if you can maintain that if the quality and story suffers as bad as it did in that one, in my humble opinion. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see once I watch Rebel Moon, and I'll tell you what I think. But overall, right now, so obviously if they could work out a deal, they would do it. But Warner Brothers has got to think about this. I mean, are they serious about James Gunn and his DCU? A single film, another take on Superman or something like that, I don't think they'd be opposed to. But a full-on, but with Zack Snyder, it's another shared universe. That's what's required there. To take on that and just say, hey, it's fine, someone else is financing it, Netflix will take on, and Warner Brothers, okay. But now it's competing with your other shared universe you're trying to develop, and now you've created immediately a serious competitor to it. You know, and like I said, I mean, I guess, okay, you guys agreed to release yours in 2026. We're releasing in 2025, and we'll go from there. Every other year you get to release. And it's like, okay. As far as television and streaming shows and whatnot, oh, well, that'll be all James Gunn's verse, you know, I guess, you know. So it's details like that that seems unlikely. Now, Superman Legacy bombs, then, you know, and a sale of Warner Brothers has got to be in the cards soon, because it just, everything looks and sounds bad for whatever the situation was that Zaslav inherited, you know, and that's just got to be fair on that. That's what he walked into. And so now he's got to, oh, geez, how do I polish this thing up and get the best price we can when we sell it? I don't know. So a lot of troubling things just in that alone, that even if you really wanted to do it, which I imagine it certainly seems Zack Snyder would be wanting to do it. And maybe even Netflix, like, yeah, you know what? We would take a shot at that. But, you know, how do you get there? I'm dubious on it. It'd be cool to see that happen, because I did enjoy the cast for the most part and would have liked to have seen a satisfying conclusion. And then a reboot would be fine. Be all for it, you know. But it seems unlikely. And again, yeah, the clock is ticking on this. Because Ben Affleck's not in that shape anymore, I don't think. But, you know, Hollywood magic and stuff, he could probably pull it off for a while, you know. But I guess wait and see, but it's extremely dubious. So, but, well, you never know. And there's interest there. And what, again, Legacy, Superman Legacy bombs, which could happen. And they just got to go for broke and say, okay, we're licensing out this. And so, you license it out. It's still your property. So it could still, provided Zack Snyder delivers on that, and we don't, how fast can he put that together? You know, and how soon can they have a movie out on it, and go from there, and have a winner that makes the entity of WB refreshing enough for someone to purchase it, which would be the goal at that point. Boy, that's a lot of work to do, huh? In the meantime, he's all about Rebel Moon, you know? And I don't know. I mean, how much of this would he just be the overseer of it rather than the director? But I guess he would want to direct the Justice League films. And if that's all it is just Justice League 2 and 3, I wanted to see Man of Steel 2 and stuff like that. And the Batman film. You could throw in Wonder Woman 3. You know, a good one. But anyway, yeah, we'll see. But, you know, well, we'll see.